phenomenal saxophone player, flute player as well, and he has been doing just amazing things throughout the years. Performed, toured with so many different projects, and he has been doing a lot of also great things for the community. So I would like to start from the beginning, and take us back to maybe your childhood and what was your first exposure to music and maybe the saxophone. Tell us a little bit about that.
So, my father's a musician. He plays saxophone. He was a music major, so and he has a master's degree. So he taught, and he learned all the instruments. So he plays piano, bass, sax, clarinet. And so, growing up with him, my parents split when I was 2. So he had his place, and my mother had her place, and I stayed with her most of the times. But when I was at my father's house, there was a piano there, there's a drum set there, there's studio equipment there, and I would hear him rehearse. And this was before I touched any instruments. I was just a kid, being around my dad here and there. And I think I hit the 4th grade. I decided to join the band, and I took my dad's snare drum. I wanted to be a drummer, like a lot of boys do, and so went to school, joined the band, and there were like 15 drummers, kids trying to learn how to play snare. Some guys were good, and I could never get the drum roll down. I was like, so I was like way in the back of the line. And so there was a couple of guys who could really play things, and I couldn't. And so I said, Dad, let me grab your saxophone. Because there was this one guy that the band director used to always talk, because the drummers, we would play and the horseplay and stuff, and we always got in trouble. And the one, he would always talk about this guy, Stephen Hope, and he played a tenor saxophone. And he was the only one in his section. And he said, y'all need to be like Stephen Hope. He's so good, he's obedient, he does what he's supposed to do. And y'all back there bad and playing. I said, well, my dad plays sax, let me get a sax. So my dad gave me an alto. I didn't know at that time the difference between the saxophones. And I just wanted to be with Stephen Hope, who played tenor. Yeah. My dad gave me an alto. And when I got to school with my alto, they said, and I just had never even seen all those girls over there. Because I used to just look at Stephen Hope. And there was like a line of girls playing alto saxophone. And I was like, oh man, this is the one I want to sit with Stephen. But I stuck with it. And I learned a little bit, and I was still in the back of the line with the girls also, because I was just beginning. But so I started in school.
How old were you at the time when you picked up the saxophone?
10. 4th grade is like 10.
10.
I was 10. And I was not even serious about it. I was just in band on the band days, 5th or 6th chair. And I stayed with it, and then when I hit middle school, I think that's when it happened. And so I always loved music because our generation was a big TV generation, and when I would get in trouble, my mom would put me on punishment. There'd be no TV. So I had to go to my room and it would just be music. And I think I fell in love with music before I started to play. In like 2nd grade, I'd be on punishment, I remember. Like just listening to music and being like, I love this. And then I just like loved it. So when my mom realized that I loved music, she was like, okay, no radio also, because I've been having a good time with music, instead of television. But so I fell in love with music in the 2nd grade. I actually put my hands on the instrument in the 4th grade. But the love of playing music didn't happen until maybe like 7th grade in middle school, and there was a song that our band played. And there was a section where the alto saxophones had this part that I just thought was beautiful.
And remember what it was?
I don't remember the name of the song, but the line was and we just repeated that, and everybody else was playing all these changes around us, and the alto saxophone was playing, and hearing everything happen around, and we were like out front. I used to just go home and play it outside, just play that one line over and over again. And that's when the connection for actually playing music and loving it, what it sounds, happened. And then I went to a music camp, and I was still 5th, 6th chair. At that time, I was still 5th or 6th chair, but I wanted to go to a music camp that summer. It was So 7th grade was when I started to like it. And in the 8th grade summer, I went to a camp for music and played like all summer long. And when I got to the 9th grade, I was first chair because no other kids practiced ever. And over the summer.
So were you playing alto at the time, or you?
Alto.
Yeah.
I didn't switch to tenor until college.
Mm-hmm.
So when I became first chair, then it was like, oh, I'm somebody, I'm something. And then there was this one senior who was a section leader, and he graduated. And so 10th grade, I was like a section leader and got serious. And I wanted to impress the band director and go to governor's honors. And I was in it then. You know, I had status or position, or I was somebody.
Do you have a clear memory of when you discovered jazz music?
Yeah, I always heard my dad do jazz, but he's more of an entertainer. He tells jokes, he talks, dances, he wears costumes, and he just does a lot of weddings and cover music, which is not always jazz. I mean, he would do a couple of jazz tunes at first, but then he would get to the top 40 songs, which was, at that time, there were still bands in the early 80s and 70s playing the top 40 songs. And so it wasn't necessarily jazz, it was just kind of like live music. But I think James Brown, I heard a James Brown song in Maceo, and I was like, oh, you know, that alto. And then I followed that, and I started to listen to CLK, and they played a Love Supreme every night, Coltrane. And then so I heard Miles, and when I heard Miles, that was it. That was when
was that a breaking point, or like a very special moment for you?
Yeah, Miles. But it was the later Miles. It was because I was with Maceo and funky, and it was the later Miles with Kenny Garrett and kind of more funky stuff that I heard first. And so then when I went and loved that about Miles, I went into the vault and researched
everything before that.
Yeah.
So 10th grade, you want to start your own jazz band.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. I want to hear more.
And at that time, I don't think I found Miles yet. So it wasn't all the way a jazz thing. It was just kind of like Kenny G. I think the first song I did was like Kenny G and some kind of R&B thing, you know. And I was just like, so there was a Stephen Holt actually, because I surpassed him in the 8th grade when I went to that camp. So Stephen Holt actually played piano also. So he was a keyboard player, and the tuba player was the bass player. And I don't even think we had a drummer. Maybe we had a drummer. And we did the coordination at the assembly for homecoming. And it was my first time ever playing in front of people. And I played like the Kenny G thing, and I just did like a little Kenny G trick, like a little flutter or something, and the whole school was like, ah, he's awesome. And I was like, whoa, I think this is what I'm going to do. And so then I got serious, and that's when I found Miles. After I decided, all right, I'm going to be a musician, start practicing. This is cool. It was easy for me too. My first time I ever took a solo sounded good to me. You know, I didn't feel like, oh, this is hard, I can't do it.
Felt really natural to you.
Yeah, because we practiced scales from elementary school. And I just knew, just playing the scale, like I could just hear like the keys in that scale. And I just knew, well, I'll just press the buttons of this scale, and I'm not going to worry about any of the other notes. I kind of knew that right away.
Yeah.
And so I was good. First time I ever took a solo. Now, I don't know if I really was good, but I thought I was good.
And it felt good.
Yeah.
Really good. Not only playing the music, but also the experience of being a performer.
Right.
And bringing joy and excitement to it.
Right. Yeah.
So tell us about you, then what happens with you? You go to college,
Yeah.
right? Tell us where you go and how was that experience for you? Because you're now getting really in depth.
It was a complete culture shock.
Tell the audience where exactly you went to.
I went to Howard University in DC, and before I'd gone to Howard, I was at Mays High School, which is a math and science academy. And I remember when I was in high school, no one took music serious. It was like, this is a hobby. Like, we're going to be engineers and scientists and financial planners and politicians. And music is just whatever, you know. And I was a star playing Kenny G stuff because there was no serious music thing happening at Mays. We had a great symphonic band, but not like jazz or any extra music. It was just band music. And so, and I played at church. My mother, she's now a minister. At that time, she wasn't, but we were devout. I was at church all the time. And I sang until my voice changed. So I was into music at church as well. But yeah, when my voice changed, it was over. I was a star. With the high-pitched voice, man. At church, I was the man. And then my voice started squeaking. I was like, let me go to band. This is my band. But when I went to college, my experience was just church, which they're gonna clap for everything you do at church. Good job, baby, good job. You know, and in high school where I'm doing like Kenny G type stuff, nothing seriously serious. And I was practicing though with Maceo and I love Miles and Train. But when I went to Howard, is when I first met people who had gone to art schools, and there were kids who were like playing Charlie Parker, bebop, hard stuff.
Did you feel intimidated by it, or encouraged, or was it a mixture of both things?
It's a funny story, man. I'm so crazy. I guess I've been crazy the whole time. But so I should have been intimidated, and I wasn't because I knew my heart. My heart is all about music and love, and my heart is in the right place, and I want to play music, and I want to be a musician. So I remember freshman year, they put me in the B or C band because my reading wasn't all that good, but I still wanted to be this jazz guy, and I went to an upperclassmen jam session with upperclassmen playing. These guys were like, a couple of the guys were on tour, because they were like 22, and I was like 18, and they were playing some real deal, fast,
Bebop stuff.
bop stuff, changes, chord changes, going all over the place. And I said, man, I'm just gonna get up there. I'm gonna get up there and just feel it. And just let God take over my emotions. And I'm just gonna get up there. So I got up there, upperclassmen all playing, I get up and play. And I started doing some Kenny G, and I closed my eyes, and the guys, they were like, stop! They stopped everything. All my friends, all the freshmen used to listen to the upperclassmen. And I walk up there playing, they like completely embarrassed me, like, stop, pull your horn out of your mouth. And I held it in and walked out. I actually cried. Like, I was like, I went to the practice room and I vowed that I was going to destroy all of those guys. All of y'all, each one of y'all, I'm killing y'all. And I went to the practice room and I practiced like 6 hours a day, and I was like a freak. I mean, I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. It was just like, the fire drove me. Man, I was like, oh. So I wake up at 5:30 in the morning, do 2 hours before my first class. At 8, do my classes, and then at lunch I do 2 hours in between classes, and then after school I do 2 hours. And then like the most I did 12 hours. Coltrane, I heard that Coltrane did 12 hours. So I was like, I'm gonna do 12 hours one day. I did 11, I didn't make it. Because I was like, it's like solitary confinement. But I did travel though. I'm gonna tell you that day I did the 12 hours, I was doing long tones. And it's like a meditation, like, until you can't breathe anymore. And like, have you heard of Om and I was kind of inadvertently doing that, and I went to another planet doing long tones. And so the spiritual thing kind of like
puts you in a trance, right?
Totally.
Trance state.
Yeah. Not even trying to, not even going to a temple or a church or a priest. I'm just practicing long tones and went somewhere.
Yeah. But it's also very, very cool to hear you talk about your formative years and putting all these hours into your craft and developing your sound and becoming a better musician. And I think sometimes people maybe don't get the full picture of what it actually takes to become a really proficient artist, whether you're a painter or a musician or a poet. It takes hours upon hours upon hours that turn into years and years and years where you are just devoted and committed to your craft, your instrument, right? So you're putting all these hours to become a great musician, a great saxophone player. And so were you able to get all those guys? Like how long it could take to? Yeah,
Dude, I got it.
Yeah.
It was the greatest story. So freshman year, I was practicing like an insane person, and by sophomore year, I mean, it only took a couple of months, honestly, to grow exponentially.
Yeah.
Practicing. I remember a guy told me, if you do 15 minutes a day, every day, at the end of the week, you'll notice a difference. And that was like 15 minutes.
It's about the consistency of it. Yeah.
Right. And I was doing hours, so I was like, shh. So my sophomore year, I still wasn't like super duper, but I was a lot better. And those upperclassmen graduated, and so some of the guys around were like, oh wow, something's happening here. And I was like,
They notice also the progress.
yeah. So by the 11th grade, I was like really good. And all those upperclassmen were going. The younger guys, I was cool. I actually wound up winning the Downbeat Award my senior year. So because when I came in as a freshman year, I never made the top band ever at Howard. I was in like the third band. My reading wasn't that well, and I was typecast, profiled as, because it's like, you got the good kids. Like on the basketball team, you got LeBron, and you got the guys coming in on the bench, and y'all are just in that club, And we don't even see you. We're just worried about LeBron, And I was rising, but the teachers, they didn't realize it. They never even gave me a chance to be in the top band because I was.
They didn't believe in your potential.
No, and they weren't in the practice room hearing me, knowing that I was good. I was just so. Senior year, I won the Downbeat Award because the band, everybody knew I was good, so I wrote a song on the album and had never made the band. And that song that I wrote and played on won the Downbeat Award. And the president of the university called the band director because the A band had a show and I wasn't there. And the president of Howard University was like, where's this Kebbi Williams guy? Because I was making Howard look good. I think we were the only black school that had a mention in Downbeat magazine that year. So he was like, yeah, where's this Kebbi guy? And I wasn't in there, and he went off on the band director, like, why is this guy not in the jazz band? And so I got the band directors back, because they laughed at me as well freshman year. One of my friends told me that the band directors were making fun of my audition tape to get into Howard, because I sent in a tape for me playing at church. And I was playing with my eyes closed and all that. And they said, rewind the tape and laugh at me. My friend told me the teachers used to laugh at me. And so, and maybe I would laugh at somebody too, I don't know. But so I got the teachers back, and my friends told me that. So I got them back. President Howard fussed at them. And so then, here's how I got the upperclassmen guys back.
Yes.
So one of the guys who was playing piano that fateful day, he was on tour with some group, Shy. It was some group he was on the road with, and another drummer was on the road. So he didn't finish school, and his parents were like, "You're gonna finish school." So he went back to finish school, and I was a senior, and he was already like 25. So he had his senior recital, and he invited all those guys back to play on the senior recital, and we did a song. And he was like, yeah, I want to do 3 different tempos. We're going to do it as a ballad. We're going to do a mid-tempo. We're going to do a fast tempo. And, who wants to take the fast tempo? I was like, I'll take it. So I took the fast part of the song. So the song started out, and the main guy who told me to stop and embarrassed me, was like, stop, get out of here, get out of here. He took the mid-tempo section first. And then I came in fast. And it was Chris Dave was playing drums, and he was already famous at the time, young prodigy. And that's when Chris fell in love with me because, so I got to do this little, and it was like, and the whole crowd, they were like, yeah! They
You were on, yeah.
They knew what happened to me. So that was my revenge on the upper class. It was the greatest day of my life. I'm happy to be able to tell you that story.
Yeah.
The greatest musical moment of
Yeah.
my life.
Yeah.
I've been into Grammys. I just played in the Super Bowl, but that was better.